this since the 3rd grade. Product is just the answer to your multiplication problem. It's not an addition answer, it's not a subtraction answer. That's a different term, but the product is specific for multiplication. Jackson. So here's how we do it. You should have this somewhere in the back of your brain from last year. If it's not quite as fresh, that's why we're doing it now. Ignore the decimals and multiply it like they're normal numbers. Then at the end, you're not going to ignore the decimals. Aiden, put it down. In the product, slide the decimal the total number of places in each of the factors. All of the numbers, you're looking for the total of places, the digits that are to the right of the decimal, and you're thinking to yourself, to the left, to the left, to the left, to the left. However many times you need to slide. Let's check out example 1. I have 4.5 in parentheses, 9.23 in parentheses. Anytime numbers are in parentheses, it just means, whole class, it means multiply. There's no operation in the middle. So let's set this thing up. A strategy for multiplying is to always put the number with the most amount of digits on top. You can do it the other way around. It just looks a little funky and it gets kind of messy. So let's write 9.23 and then write 4.5. I do not build a snowman when I multiply. I'm going to line up all of the digits to the right and slide them over until they line up. Then I'm going to multiply just like a regular 3 by 2 problem. Start with your 5's place. 5 times 3 is, whole class? 5 times 2 plus 1. 5 times 9, 45 plus 1 is 46. Okay, so we just did the 5's place. Let's slide over to the 4's place. Add as filler 0 because you moved over to the 1's place from the 10ths. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. 4 times 9 is 36. Line it up. Do not worry about decimals yet. Questions on that process? Multiplying 2 by 3 should be comfortable. If it's not, today's an extra day just to get familiar with it again. Add them up. 5 plus 0 is 5. 2 plus 1 is 3. 6 plus 9 is 15. 4, 6, and 1 is 11. And then 3 and 1 is 4. When you get to this giant number, you now look at the decimals. What do I do, Chad?
You add them up. So the decimal is 2 places from 9.23 and 1 place, and then so that should be 3 places. And then you go down to your answer and you count 3 times, and then you put the decimal where it should be.
Great. Thanks for that explanation. A few things to be really careful of. When you're counting the decimals, you're only counting the digits that aren't whole numbers. So anything that is the 10ths or the 100ths place, anything to the right, you're counting. So this is 1, 2, and 3. Then you're going to slide from the very right of the number 3 places. 1, 2, 3. In other words, that is it. You're just sliding to the left. If you recognize that song, you probably have a parent who was born in the 80s or 90s. It is a Rihanna song that was like 95, top of the charts. Yeah, 41.535. Everything you own in the box to the left. Okay, let's look at number 2. Sliding a little bit more towards 7th grade standards, you have a negative sign. In your mind, you're thinking above this, right, same, good, different, bad. When you multiply or divide, you're thinking same, good, different, bad. So there's one negative and one positive. Those are different. I'm thinking this guy is going to be bad. Plus 2. It doesn't matter what number goes in the top if I have 2.6 negative or 8.7. It doesn't really matter. They're both the same amount of digits, so I'm just going to go with the first one. 2.6 is negative, and 8.7. I'm not going to put the negative sign out in the front because it looks like a subtraction problem. I just made a mental note, and I wrote it here, that this is a bad guy. So I want it to be bad at the end. Let's multiply them together. 7 times 6, whole class. 7 times 2. Add the 4, and that's 18. Move over from 7 to 8. Finish off that second column. What would 8 times 6 and 8 times 2 be? Page, 8 times 6 is? Okay. Okay, did I do that wrong? No, I did. Okay. 48 and then 8 times 2, page. 16 is good. Plus what number? Plus 4? 20. Add them up and then pay attention to decimals. 2 plus 0 is 2. 8 plus 8 is 16. 1 plus 1 is 2. And 2 plus 0 is 2. Look up at the decimals. 2262, is that it?
No.
What did I do wrong?
You forgot the negative.
I'm going to do it at the very end. So I made a mental note here that it's bad. I don't want to put the negative here because it looks like a subtraction sign. If you set it up like this, it just makes it look kind of like it's minus. So I'm just going to make a mental note next to the problem. Daniel, what's my next step? How many decimals are to the right? Or how many numbers to the right? There's 2. So we slide to which direction, Corbin? To the left. Nope, next one. Some of you know it. I actually never like listened to that song growing up. My parents weren't into it, but you'd always hear like the person like when you're walking to the left, they'd like sing the jingle. They'd like walk to the left. Or when you're doing math. Did your other teachers play it for you? Okay, next page. Cool.
Oh yeah, I love that.
Oh yeah.
Really? Really?
You got addicted to that, Sean.
Wait, show?
Yeah, Marvel show.
Oh. So in this very classroom, I had Mr. Coaches who was the dad of Mr. Coaches up there. And so when I was in 7th grade, I was in this very class with this exact TV that's about to be taken down because nobody ever uses those anymore. And every single Friday, we would watch SpongeBob.
I love SpongeBob.
Every Friday.
What?
Every single Friday.
We should do that.
No,
Why?
because I didn't learn math. He was a good teacher, but he took out like a fifth of our time by watching SpongeBob, and I didn't think it was very productive. Sorry. You guys know better. Mr. MacD is about math, not about SpongeBob. Voice off. 3, 2, 1. Turn your page. Make sure you're on independent practice. Bronze looks like this. I want you to pay attention to a few things. When you look at number 1 and 2, I threw in a mix. I don't want you to be robots. This is not multiplication. So I threw in a subtraction problem. Here's how I'm setting it up. Well, there's a 3.9 that's negative and a 2.3 that's positive. So I'm going to fight. 3.9 is going to battle 2.3. But in the end, Aiden, stop please. In the end, who's going to win? Well, 3 is bigger than 2, so in my head, I'm thinking bad guys. I'm going to write bad or good next to every problem after I do that thought process. 9 minus 3 is 6. 3 minus 2 is 1. And then it's the bad guys, so add your negative. There's your setup for number 1, board of paper. When you get to 2, you have to do a double negative. It's a not problem. So I have to rewrite this thing as negative 1.6 plus 4.9. That's going to be a bad guy versus a good guy again, so I'm fighting. But who wins this round? Bad or good? Thumb up if it's good, thumb down if it's bad. Logan, who wins? Check it out. If the 1 is bigger than the 4, I agree with you, but that's not the case. 4 is a good guy. So the good guys win. I'm going to give you 5, 10, 15. You have 6 minutes to start number 2. 1's already done for you. Start 2 and make sure you have the same answer as your partner. Then go to number 3 and 4. You should be done with about 5 in the next 5 minutes. Go.